The blasphemy law carries a death sentence for anyone who insults Islam. Critics say it has been used to persecute minority faiths. News reporters in Islamabad says the joint investigation team probing Mr. Bhatti's murder has been asked to submit a report to the Interior Ministry within a week. Mr. Bhatti, 42, a leader of the ruling Pakistan People's Party (PPP), had just left his mother's home in a suburb of the capital when several gunmen surrounded his vehicle and riddled it with bullets, say witnesses. The minister's driver was spared. The gunmen, who were wearing shawls, escaped in a white Suzuki car, according to witnesses. The minister had not been accompanied by his guards or the security escort vehicle that is standard for all Pakistani ministers, and it is not clear why. Pamphlets by Al-Qaeda and Tehreek-e-Taliban Punjab, a branch of the Taliban in Pakistan's most populous province, were found at the scene. Tehreek-e-Taliban told they carried out the attack. Pakistan transport strike hits Karachi businesses. Transport and businesses in Pakistani's city of Karachi have been severely disrupted because of strike called by private transport operators. They are angry over a move to increase fuel prices by about 10%. A government ally, the Muttahida Qawmi Movement (MQM), which governs Sindh province, whose capital is Karachi, has opposed fuel price rises in the past. An attempt to hike price in January was reversed after the MQM quit the ruling alliance in protest. It says that by failing to increase oil prices over the past 3 months, it had to pay out as much as 13 billion rupees, $153 million, in oil subsidies. Wedding truck crash kills 33 in Himachal Pradesh. At least 33 members of a wedding party have been killed in a road accident in the Indian state of Himachal Pradesh. The group was traveling in an open truck when it overturned on a mountain road in the northern state. Police say the lorry plunged 100 meters into a gorge. They say the truck was carrying around 40 passengers returning from a wedding reception. Police are investigating the cause of the accident. India has one of the highest number of fatal road accidents in the world, something we all can be proud of, isn't it? Bangladesh Mohammad Yunus eyes graceful Grameen exit. Bangladeshi Nobel laureate Mohammad Yunus has said he wants graceful exit as he launches a legal challenge to his sacking from the Grameen Bank. Professor Yunus said he was happy to step down, but he wanted to secure the future of the microfinance bank he founded. On Wednesday, the central bank sacked him, saying he was past retirement age and he had been improperly appointed. Correspondents say the effort to remove Professor Yunus is a culmination of a long-running feud with the government. On Thursday, he launched a case challenging his dismissal in Bangladesh High Court, but he made it clear that he is happy to leave his post as a managing director as long as there is a stable handover to his successor. If there is any lack of confidence over the Grameen Bank and if people have a lack of trust over the institution, then the Grameen Bank will be a shaky institution, Professor Yunus said after the court hearing. It is no matter whether I remain in the institution or not. I'm trying to secure the future of the institution, he said. The court is set to rule the dismissal on Sunday. Pope Benedict, Jewish people not guilty for Jesus' death. Pope Benedict has rejected the idea of collective Jewish guilt for Jesus Christ's death in a new book to be published next week. Tackling an issue that has led to centuries of persecution, the Pope argues there is no basis in Scripture for the Jewish people to be blamed. The Catholic Church officially repudiated the idea in 1965, but Jewish groups say the Pope's detailed analysis of the Gospel is a major step forward. We'll move on to the business world. Eurozone interest rates could rise in April, ECB says. The president of the European Central Bank has said that a rise in Eurozone interest rates was possible at its next policy meeting in April. Jean-Claude Trichet said the ECB was in a posture of strong vigilance against rising inflation. He said the rate-setting committee may have to act in the light of recent price shocks due to the sharp rise in commodity prices. On Thursday, the ECB decided to keep the rates at 1% at this month's meeting. Speaking at a press conference, Mr. Trichet stressed that no decision had not yet been made. We are never pre-committed. The decision will be taken at the next meeting by the Governing Council, he said. But analysts said it was a clear signal that a rate rise next month was likely.
G20 existed already, but this shift from the G7 to the G20, we owe it seems to me, obviously, because it was overdue, that these economies that were obviously systemic at the global level would have a full ownership of this global governance at the level of this informal grouping that I mentioned. But, and that's, of course, something which appears absolutely obvious. I trust also.
Welcome to the world of science. Tractor beam is possible with lasers, say scientists. A laser can act as a tractor beam, drawing small objects back towards the laser source, scientists have said. It is known that light can provide a push, for example, in solar sails that propel spacecraft on a wind of light. Now, in a paper to the ArXiv server, researchers from Hong Kong and China have calculated the conditions required to create a laser-based pull. Rather than a science fiction-style weapon, however, the approach would only work over small distances. The effect is different from that of employed in optical tweezers approaches, in which a tiny object can be trapped in the focus of a laser beam and moved around. This new force, the authors proposes, would be one continuous pull towards its source. And it relies on directly impinging on any object, making it distinct from an approach demonstrated in 2010 by Australian researchers, whose trapping worked by heating air around a trapped particle. The trick is not to use a standard laser beam, but rather one known as a bezel beam. That is a precise pattern of peaks and troughs in its intensity. And in sports, Indian board files umpire referral system complaint. Indian cricket officials have written to the International Cricket Council, ICC, to complain about the umpire referral system at the World Cup. The Indian board, BCCI, called the system inadequate and also said it resented the ICC's criticism of India captain Mahendra Dhoni. Dhoni complained about the letter for England's Ian Bell during the thrilling time between the two teams on Sunday. But ICC General Manager David Richardson said Dhoni should have known the rules. The inadequacy of the umpire decision referral system, UDRS, has been exposed in Cricket World Cup, BCCI Secretary N. Srinivasan wrote in a letter to the ICC Chief Executive Harun Dorgat. The group stage match between India and England was a case in point which clearly brought out inadequacy of the system. The ICC, in consultation with the hockey, formed playing conditions which specifies when the umpire can rely on hockey when he cannot. This itself is an admission of the question of reliability of the system, including ball tracking technology. And before we close today's bulletin of news analysis, let's have a recap of the main points. Libya revolt, Gaddafi in crimes against humanity probe. Egypt's Prime Minister Ahmed Shafiq resigns. Ivory Coast, women shot during Ouattara march. Nigeria deadly blast targets rally near Abuja. India anti-corruption chief P.J. Thomas forced to resign. Frankfurt airport shooting focus on terror theory. And there we end today's bulletin of news analysis. Be with us in the coming weeks too. Thank you.